my God, I think I fucking love you.
That's too bad.
Hello and welcome to another
Sorry,
episode.
I just wanted to recreate the experience of watching this film.
That's fair. And also the experience of many of us in real life these days. These of days. Because on another episode of Kill James Bond, I am Alice Goldrock-Ellie. I'm joined, as always, by my friends Abigail Thorne and Devon.
Hey, sorry.
How you doing?
Also, the lingering presence of toxic masculinity, right? Which we cannot escape and which shrouds all of our actions.
I scrubbed myself in the shower,
sort of
but
like
still, I can't get rid of it.
It's yeah, and it's imposed on us. It's, it's coming in from outside. It's circling us. It's every day of our lives we confront toxic masculinity, and so I thought we would have a nice escape from toxic masculinity by watching a movie. But oh fuck, there's toxic masculinity in there too. Turns out they've got they got men in the movies as well. The one thing I depended on, I relied upon.
They've pretty much only got men in the movies.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, okay, that's okay. There's going to be at least one woman, maybe two.
There is at least one woman. There are two.
That's true. This movie, I believe, passes the Bechdel test, which demonstrates once and for all what the sort of like inutility of that test as anything other than a fun thing.
Just about like
scrapes over
big
the line
with like a D- on the Bechdel test.
It's like me passing my fucking bachelor's degree. It's just like, oh baby, we got there.
Yeah, coming in like bad. This is Atomic Blonde, and Atomic Blonde was Charlize Theron's passion project for a while. It was an adaptation of a graphic novel called The Coldest City.
Oh, really? I didn't notice from the way it's edited.
Yeah. and like one of a couple of graphic novels that are sort of like set in this sort of Cold War thing. The other's Velvet, which is better, but they adapted the worst one. And the vibe here was going to be James Bond brackets woman, right? And this was like a real passion project. They marketed it very heavily and everything. It's the director. And then what happened was they gave it to the co-director of John Wick, which sounds great, right? We love John Wick. I did that thread about it. Like, Dev, you've been talking about John Wick 4 for like a week now.
I could literally talk about John Wick for hours and will at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. We love John Wick. But then like something went wrong because we got this movie Atomic Blonde, which I remembered when we picked it for this quite fondly. I was like, oh yeah, it was all right, kind of like insubstantial, stylish, fun. It was a big sort of like visual inspiration for a game of Hunter the Vigil that I ran, set in 1980s Berlin. And then I made my friends watch it, and I realized that, the worst thing that can happen to anyone, you make your friends watch a movie you've hyped up a bit, and you remember it's bad, and you're embarrassed.
You're like, uh-oh.
Yeah. I think it's bad. I said this in the group chat. I think it's bad in a way that is interesting to talk about, because on paper I can see how this looks really good. It's like an action movie. It's starring Charlize Theron. She's also producing it. So I bet she was like, I think she just turned like 40 when this was happening. So I like have a lot of respect for her being like, I'm going to play a leading lady. I'm going to play like a sexy action hero, show that I still got it. This is like just when superhero films are getting really, really big. So it's like a great career move for her. And like, yeah, we've got the guy who like co-directed John Wick on board, which all sounds very good. Unfortunately, we have the man who co-directed John Wick. And I don't know if it's fair to lay the blame for everything in this movie at his door.
Well, let's try.
But yeah, I guess that's
Hey,
what happens when you're a director.
Yeah, your sort of names on the thing in big letters right at the very start. Like, I'm responsible for all of this. And I'm like,
Caveat, would still love to work with you anytime. If you ever need exactly one woman, call me.
There's some interesting things about this movie, and it has potential, which is in some ways the worst thing that a movie can have.
Oh, truly. That's the saddest part of it.
It's trying real hard.
Almost good.
So yeah, we have to begin, of course, with a 009.
Of course.
And 009 pursued through Berlin, caught and killed by a KGB assassin called Yuri Bakhtin, who delivers basically my analysis of the movie, which is
maybe you're not as good at this spy shit as you think.
And then kills him.
This is actually like my ideal role in a movie, is to be the guy who shows up first and gets killed, and then is just like, maybe like a photo of me shows up every so often, like the protagonist is looking at it like, damn, I can't believe they killed Devon. But like my paycheck's cashed, I'm off, I'm done.
Yeah. And we see that like spying in this world sort of like a lot of banter, very banter based.
Yeah. He also steals this guy's
epic.
watch.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was just I thought that was just a funny joke, but it turns out to be important.
Yes, the spy is called James Gascoigne, and we follow this back to London,
Spies
where
all over
Charlize Theron, wearing this sort of like ice blonde hair,
and the colored ice.
Yes, drowning herself in a bathtub full of ice to heal from some, she's had the shit kicked out of her. And this is just like, it's well done.
It is, but it's also the kind of like joke answer to how do you introduce your female protagonist? Mm-hmm. And it's like she's naked and vulnerable. It's like
for sure. Okay. When I say well done, I mean technically like she looks like she has lost a bunch of fights.
Yes, she's proficient.
Which she had, because like she cracked 2 teeth filming this movie. Like one of the things that I have sort of ambivalent feelings about is that this is a movie with a lot of like heavy fight scenes. And there's a lot of John Wick in it in that sense. And it must have been very intense to do, teeth aside. And it really it sells. I don't know, maybe those are real bruises. I can't tell. So that's good.
Yeah,
but she's sort of like Charlize Theron, Lorraine Broughton, this MI6 agent,
living in this insanely nice flat. Like
that's true.
Maybe this
she
is
got
because
a
I'm
deal
like, I need
on like
to
a
move.
flat in central London.
Yeah,
and
maybe this
she
is
got
just
very lucky.
This is just because I need to move soon, and I've been looking at flats, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this flat must be.
She's got a view of Big Ben. Like I think it has to be where Portcullis House is now. But anyway. She's sort of like drowning her sorrows with a lot of vodka and slowly healing from these injuries. And we see that she has a photo of 009 Gascoigne, which she burns, and that sets light to the whole thing, and it changes. Because like there's no light in that scene. It's all like very blue and washed out, and then you get some red from the thing. And it's like very, very pleased with itself.
Yeah, she gets out of the bath full of ice and like grabs a fistful of it, puts it into a glass, and like pours like some fucking Stoli vodka on it. In a very like, this is what the character is about, sort of a move.
Gamer girl bath water vodka.
Yep.
I do. The cinematography of this, it's very much comic book, right? And we've had a lot of comic book movies, a lot of comic book adaptations, and the sort of like house style that's developed for filming those is a bit less obtrusive than this one, I find.
This is really kind of leaning on it. It's really good. This is based on a graphic novel, like the way the titles come up and they're like spray painted onto the screen, and again, like really, really good career move for everyone involved here, given the rise of superhero films that was kind of meteoric at the time, slowing down a bit now.
Sure. But so Lorraine goes to work at MI6. We get the first big music hit. Yeah. Blue Monday. We love Blue Monday, don't we, folks? And this gets to my other big criticism of this movie, which is this is a Spotify best of the 80s playlist that occasionally remembers there's a movie attached to it.
This is a movie that has a soundtrack. Yeah. And I mean that in the worst conceivable way. Some of these bang.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of them are very on the nose.
It's you like everything up to like the soundtrack available in the lobby now. Like it's really it has a soundtrack, capital A, capital S.
And it really leans on it. It really also likes to do the thing where the soundtrack switches between being diegetic and being not, like existing in the world and being applied over the top of it.
Like
and doing the thing. Yeah, exactly. But worse. And the second time it happened with David Bowie's Cat People, I was like, this is going to get really aggravating if they keep doing it. And they really keep doing it. Yeah. So she goes to work. MI6 is drab and suspicious, and she walks into the set from Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Yeah. A better movie. It gestures at a better movie.
We see 2 guys who I love to see.
Yep. I've
One
written
is
this down.
Yes.
Toby Jones, actor I love.
Oh, yeah.
Love to
Always
see.
turning up, doing a great job. The other is John Goodman.
Don.
We also see
Guy I love to see.
a third actor we love to see, the villain from Cody Banks 2.
Yeah. Sure, I guess so.
Glad-
It does play
shit.
this. It does play the London Calling later on, and I spent the entire
Yeah,
time
I
going
know.
London.
London.
But yeah, he's here too.
Yeah, so if you remember, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy mostly happened within a sort of like soundproofed briefing room with the acoustic foam on the walls, and it felt very claustrophobic. What we've done is we've lifted that as a narrative, as a framing device, and we've just gone, right, okay, we're going to have you explain what happened in Berlin in this sort of airless, quite close briefing room with John Goodman and Toby Jones there. Toby Jones there for some more Tinker Tailor cheap heat.
Yeah. I don't mind a good, like, you are being debriefed post the actual events of the movie, sort of as a framing device. I liked it in Annihilation a great deal. I think it can be done really well. I think this is like okay. This is like an okay implementation of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so also we have C, M, real life equivalent, the head of MI6 on the other side of like a one-way glass.
Now we know what C stands for.
Fucking shit. Yeah. Oh my god. You both did that exactly like dead on simultaneous too, which is really funny.
I hope that's lined up even more perfectly in the edit, just like
it's
on top of each other.
Yeah.
So the vibe was she was sent to Berlin like 2 weeks ago or whatever, and the list from Mission Impossible, the list of all the secret agents, all the Soviet secret agents, it doesn't really matter, operating in the West, has been leaked. Gascoigne had it. Yuri, it's like hidden in his watch. Yuri killed him and stole it. So go to Berlin, find Yuri, find the list.
We get some duff writing on this too. Like we find it's codenamed The List, which is a shit code name for one thing.
You can't just codename it what it is.
Yeah, it's codenamed MacGuffin.
Yeah, go get a pen. Codename Pen. Fucking get a grip. What are you talking?
So they activate codename Projector, and they're like, right, check this shit out. Here's Yuri Bakhtin, right? He's a big dude, Russian, not going to be very important in this movie.
Here's my notes for this. I wrote, "Guy I love to see." And then, as like a moment later, when John Goodman walked in, I wrote, "Guy I love to see." And then it turned the projector on, and I wrote, "Guy I hate to see." "Guy I detest to see."
You gotta see this guy. This is Eddie Marsan playing a cunt.
How you doing, bud?
Which cool that he'd method acted that for a number of years.
Friend of the show, Eddie Marsan.
I genuinely don't know anything about this. Actually, I don't know why
Eddie Marsan, the sort of like an anti-Corbyn landlord, like Pessy bourgeois actor.
Annoying, just like whiny.
We'll be seeing him again.
Yeah, very
very
annoying Twitter presence. We will. But he's playing this playing the Stasi officer who wants to defect to the West and like has brought this has memorized it in his head. And she's like, okay, go to Berlin, meet our man in Berlin, cut to and then on the projector comes up sort of like young early career twink, well clean cut James McAvoy.
I wrote,
and then I really like this cut.
About seeing.
I like James McAvoy. I like to see him in a movie.
One thing I will say about James McAvoy is he is currently working.
That is true. I think he's fine.
That's one thing that no one can take away from him, man.
Guy, talk me about the cut.
They cut from the clean cut sort of like twink James McAvoy to James McAvoy in Berlin at now where he has gone feral.
Yes, yes, it's really good. I like this a lot.
I really like this. He's got like close cropped hair. He's got a beard. He's wearing like a sort of a fur coat everywhere and like a really ratty fur coat. It looks like he like picked it out of a bin. He's sort of gone like hobo spy. And he has this sort of like coterie of East German punks. He distributes like jeans and Jack Daniels to them in exchange for intelligence.
I think a hobo king would protect his hobo crown.
Yeah, and this Stasi officer Spyglass comes to him to try to defect, and Spyglass
It's like, I've got a list of tropes in the Labour Party. I've memorized all of them.
Not to defend the Stasi, right? We did that whole movie about why you shouldn't do that, The Lives of Others. But for some reason, the Stasi are always the nerd spies. Like, the KGB get to, like, kill people, and the Stasi, whenever they show up in a movie, are like, I've been recording your phone calls. And it's...
The Virgin Stasi versus the Chad KGB.
Well, like, think about fucking the Stellan Skarsgård and Ronin. He was meant to be like ex-Stasi, and he was a big fucking nerd. He was like, I record your phone calls, and it's like,
been fucked into
come
a
on,
cocked hat.
Been fucked into a cocked hat.
Speaking of Skarsgårds. There's one in the background of this scene. I saw everyone.
They keep adding them.
I said this when I got back home from Infinity Pool. I'm like, every year they invent a new Skarsgård and then gaslight me about it.
You're like, you don't recognize Marcel Skarsgård, the French Skarsgård.
Like, huh? It's just like big name on the billboard, and I'm like, whom? But this one's Bill Skarsgård, who's one I recognize as real.
He's a canon Skarsgård. Who's he playing?
One of the Skarsgård claimants. He's playing...
He's like the bartender kind of guy.
Yeah. He's called Merkel, as in Angela.
The hobo king of the youth. Mm-hmm. He's in charge of the youth wing.
Okay, great.
He is.
Oh, is he the weird twink who comes back later on with the umbrella?
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
He
The
is.
weird twink.
Okay, I didn't realize he was Skarsgård.
That's Bill Skarsgård.
All right, cool. Mm-hmm. So James McAvoy beats up some cops and then escapes in a cool way. And then...
he does.
Then...
Because Spyglass has memorized the list. He keeps a copy of it in his head. He wants to defect. James McAvoy doesn't want to let him. Mm-hmm. And then the cops show up, the Volkspolizei, and James McAvoy has to run, goes, under the wall and escapes back to the west.
And the next morning, we see him wake up, and of course, he wakes up next to two sexy ladies with their breasts out.
Mm-hmm.
These women are props. They do not have names. They are there to make sure that we know he's cool.
Sure.
I hope they were both.
He is tied to the bed, which makes you know that he is like, extra cool in like a rakish way, right? Which, interesting. And Lorraine gets on a plane, arrives in Berlin, is met by like Russian goons, right? The most obviously Soviet goons who are like, James McAvoy is waiting in trunk of car, get in. So she gets in the car and they have quite a pleasant conversation. They're like, this guy, Mr. fucking, what's his name? Christ, Baryshnikov. Bremovich. Mr. Bremovich is like curious to know why you're in Berlin. Here's a card with next location
of this
on
movie
it.
would like to introduce himself now.
Yes, here is card with secondary location. She takes the card.
And at this point, Charlize Theron is like, I'm 20 minutes into this film and I am going to put down my application for the Kronstein Rosette by doing what always wins the Kronstein Rosette, attacking the driver of the vehicle you're in.
It's the best. It's so good. Every single time it happens, I stand up and clap. I'm like, yes, correct. That's right.
She sees a Porsche in the rearview mirror and she goes, oh shit, that's James McAvoy. Pulls off her heel, starts stabbing the guy next to her with it, starts like attacking the guy driving the car who's like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you? I am driving the car.
This is unsafe. Says, what are you doing?
Do.
Like,
yeah, he does.
He doesn't start fighting back until he asks like, what? Like 4 or 5 times, and then he's like, right, I see we're in a fight.
Why are you doing this? And she crashes the car.
She crashes that car.
And you get a safety tip from this, which is if you're in a car that's about to flip, just grab onto the seatbelt with like your hands and you'll be fine.
That's right.
Both of those guys are unconscious. So at this point, James McAvoy gets out of his car, and I have a thought that is in all capitals with a full stop at the end, which is I am not non-binary.
I see.
And this is what we in the business like to call a lie. The thing is, right, this is primarily a coats movie.
Yes.
It cares a great deal about fashion, and it cares a great deal about sort of big, long, billowy winter coats, right? And so James McAvoy gets out of the car. Yeah, who doesn't? Me too. And this is kind of why. James McAvoy gets out of his car, stalking towards this crashed car with the like close-cropped hair and the close-cropped beard, wearing an East German police greatcoat. He is sort of like accumulated and discarded the rest of. He's wearing like a fucking like sweater vest with nothing else underneath it too. And I mean, honestly, like you hear him talk a bit after this, and I don't know, it's a bit gender, a tiny little bit for me, maybe.
I think it's gender. I think I could see it being gender.
I think there's gender because I think, you know, impossible to relate to a sort of public schoolboy gone disastrously ferally wrong, you know?
I mean, I was more looking at Charlize Theron's like incredible pinstripe, like trousers into bustier, like jumpsuit with and then like the white shirt and then even the red heels. I was like, damn, that's great. I want that.
All of Charlize Theron's femme stuff in this, they're like really pushing it on you, and it's really trying quite hard. And this
yes, exactly,
seemed like effortless, which I liked, and that was gender to me. I have a great coat very similar to that for that reason. It doesn't work on me. Also, why I get the urge to shave all my hair off occasionally. But so he shows up,
happens to the best of
pulls
us.
her out of the car. yeah, for sure.
As well.
We're learning some things about ourselves, and he pulls her out of the car, and she goes, "Oh yeah, these Russian guys, they just kidnapped me, and I had to like defend myself with my shoe. They also knew both of our names, so I'm like my cover is blown immediately." It's like, yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, great spy work. By the way, I'm made.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
And he's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, because kind of his vibe, and she sees pretty much immediately that this is like calculated for her, is lackadaisical, right? Sort of like louche, piratical.
I'm so cool, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't even care about spying. I'm not even good. I'm just here to have a good time, man. Which, to be fair, he is, but there's layers to this character, which I quite like. So they also kidnap one of the Russians. He like stuffs him in the trunk of the Porsche and like drops him off outside the Soviet embassy to send a message.
That's quite fun.
Yeah, for sure.
And he says send a message to Comrade Bremovich, like saying, yeah, fuck you. And then that nicely sets us up for the next scene where we get to meet Comrade Bremovich, who's interrogating the East German skate punks from the previous scene. Something very funny happens here, which is that one of the unnamed skate punks who's like being knelt down in this like skate arena looks exactly like Glinner.
Arena.
Go back and he looks exactly like Graham Linehan.
Can we make that? I'll find it. We can make that the episode.
You'll find the
100%.
guy.
If we remember to do that, yeah.
Put together Graham Linehan, like. Despite living in East Germany, it's just like one guy who's like noticeably older and a different shape than everyone else.
They took everything from me. They took my family.
I'm struck by Skate Arena still, to be honest.
Skate Arena is pretty good too. It's like fucking Pilot Cabin, you know? It's like
yeah.
Abby doesn't know what things are called.
The pilot arena.
Yeah. Skate Arena.
What is it called?
What are you doing in a skate arena? Like a fucking...
No, it's like a death match. I don't know, rink maybe? I think that's ice though. I don't fucking know. I'm just making fun of you.
Skate park?
I don't have to know.
But a park implies an open space. They're like under an overpass, whatever. At this point, the movie does its one thing again, which is that they play an 80s song.
Yeah. A guy gets beaten to death with a skateboard to 99 Luftballons because, of course, he does. This is hack work. This is like when I was a teenager.
Do you know this?
Yeah.
Are you aware?
It was like when I was a teenager and I tried to like write screenplays based on the music I thought was cool first. And, atrocious results that way. Much the same.
Doing a jukebox musical based on like your playlist. Like,
pretty
favorite.
much. Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. No, it was fiction, but like I was like, oh, what would be cool to be like, being accompanied by what I am currently listening to, right?
I think you're right.
So Bremovich is like, yo, where's Eddie Marsden? Where's the list? I'm pursuing the object that's
logging onto Twitter as like a Corbynist in like sort of 2015.
Where's Eddie?
Yeah, this man is a traitor. Where is he? And we see that Bremovich, he isn't really a character. He's got one trait, which is violent. And he gets to do some violence. He like smashes the boombox after he beats a guy to death with a skateboard. Glenna is traumatized, setting him on the path to radicalization and posting on Twitter.
Yeah, this is how it happened. It's a damn shame, but there you go.
At this point, Lorraine has to go and identify Gascoigne's corpse, and
yeah, she does some more ice bullshit first, though.
Yeah.
Which where is she getting all of this fucking ice?
She
is
loves
my
ice.
question.
Hotels.
It's like 4 buckets of ice. Like she's going back and forth.
So
for this ice.
she's harvesting the set from Die Another Day. But she goes to identify Gascoigne's corpse, and she is photographed going in by a woman on a motorcycle. Now, I've just given
Who is also gender.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
She's gender. Yep,
I've just given quite a neutral description of this. The way the film handles this is the motorbike pulls up. We see the booted foot go down. We pan all the way up this woman's leather-clad leg, ass, rotating round tits,
Yeah, we do.
décolletage, and then we see her face. And it's like, I would just imagine if they'd done that to John Goodman.
They should have.
Okay,
I mean, like, I agree with
right?
you. It is fucked to pieces, but like, if you're gonna do it to someone, you should. Everyone in the show should get it.
Yeah,
they should have done that to Eddie Marsan at the start.
It's just really noticeable. And we'll keep coming back to this. The way this film
We'll keep
treats
talking
women.
about this because
Speaking of women,
furious.
this scene contains woman number 3 of 3 in the film.
That's true.
Unnamed
We did
German
it. German
doctor.
pathologists who is just like, yeah, in Germany we don't make mistakes. The paperwork is fucked. You have to go back and do it again now, please. I'm not sure why I gave her that accent. Whatever.
That's what everyone in Germany sounds like to me.
That's true. That's true.
Welcome to Kill
Yeah,
James Bond.
die Paperwork ist total ausgefuckt.
Ich bin der Podcast recorden mit meinen Freunden.
Das ist die ganze Game gechanged. But so what Lorraine is expecting to happen.
So much. Sorry, please carry on.
No, it's fine. What she's expecting to happen is she goes to pick up the body. Her cover is immediately blown. The East Germans like deport her from East Germany, and the mission is over. But what she has done is she has like sabotaged the paperwork, and because they're Germans, they're like, yeah, this number is wrong, so I'm not going to process this until it's correct. And so she just gets to stay. And she sort of goes back to the hotel, like having done this. And is this the point where she gets like ambushed by Percival?
James McAvoy's in her hotel room, and she beats him up, throws him onto the bed, and chokes him. My notes do say mummy, I'm afraid.
Yeah, for sure. But like, there's a little bit of like sexual tension between them, which is like unearned, I think. Them specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I also want her to beat me up. What do you want me to say?
Yeah, but at this point, he denies having ever met Eddie Marsden. That becomes important later. So she goes to search Gascoigne's flat, and we hear through the kind of
immediately fucks her.
Yeah, no, not in a non-literal sense.
No. Fucks her over.
So we hear
she ausgefuckt her.
We hear in the framing device interrogation with Toby Jones and John Goodman that the list doesn't just contain a list of all the Soviet spies, but it will also expose an MI6 double agent, codename Satchel.
Epic plot twist.
Yeah.
I predicted this flawlessly. Easy to me.
I simply knew this immediately off.
I liked what the film. I actually didn't see it coming because I found the ending of the film very confusing. But so as soon as I said there's a double agent, in my head, I was just like, oh, that's James McAvoy because he's the most famous character.
No.
I was like, it's either Charlize Theron, which would be really dumb, or it's James McAvoy because he's the most famous person in the film. And she also...
You fell for sort of like a reasonable sort of like thing because the first thing they show you after, there's a double agent called Satchel, is her looking at a portrait of James McAvoy, a photo of James McAvoy with Gascoigne, meaning he was lying about not having known him or not having like hung out with him.
It wants you to believe that James McAvoy is Satchel at this time.
I simply did not. I was like, she's Satchel, okay.
I didn't understand why, but so later on we learn that she's Satchel and he's just kind of out for himself. I don't understand why he lied about having met Gascoigne though. Why would he do that?
Because this is a movie that loves plot twists and does not like going back and checking their work, right?
They wrote one draft.
It's pretty obvious because like the reason the one thing they give you so you know she is Satchel is she gets in the car with the fucking KGB and the KGB are like, yo, what's up? How's it going? And she only like beats the shit out of them. She sees James McAvoy and immediately activates sicko mode and starts beating the shit out of them while they're like, yo, what the fuck was this for?
Oh shit! I didn't even think about that. I didn't go back and think about this film.
Also.
So at this point, the film does the same thing again. which is that she puts on some 80s music and beats up some cops. She kicks them in the balls because women.
This is all done heavily overdubbed to father figure, which was apparently not the first choice for that. Like, they wanted another movie for it. It was Take My Breath Away. They wanted to Take My Breath Away for that, which is even hackier.
That's yeah, of course.
There's a really obvious Wilhelm scream in there, which is like,
yeah there is.
Epic meme, bro.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an in-joke for like movie guys. People don't know about the Wilhelm scream.
The other thing is, she kicks the shit out of these guys, and then we go back to the framing device, and she's like, if I'd known I was going to have to kick the shit out of so many guys, I would have worn a different outfit. And it cuts to these two men in their sort of like grey suits going like, were outfit women, girls, were?
Women wearing outfits? Broads?
What? The funniest, silliest bullshit in the scene, right at the end, after having beaten up like a good dozen cops, all of whom has seen her face, she's going out. The last two cops go, hey, stop. And she pulls her turtleneck up over her face like a ninja mask.
I was wondering why she was doing that. I was like, do you have COVID?
Yeah, I don't know. So they could get the shot COVID for the fucking promo. Yeah. Ich denke, dass ich Covid haben. Just like on the floor, just like, oh.
That's all of the cops are saying that. They got like,
on the floor, rock hard.
Got beaten up by Charlize Theron and got so hard. All right, carry on. Sorry, not a good bit.
No, it's fine.
Hacky.
She goes to see James McAvoy and she's wearing a wire right now, just to record the conversation. Now, I've described that listeners in a very neutral way.
On? Yeah.
But of course, she stands in her lingerie and she puts it on underneath her lingerie because women.
She really do be feeding that like wire through under her bra too. It's like remarkably.
I just think like, in an espionage situation, you're not going to want that much lace.
No,
I think that's going to be a problem for her. I think it won't help. I don't know.
I call this in my notes blatantly exploitative, which it is. So she goes to talk to James McAvoy for a bit, and James McAvoy lies to her some more.
James McAvoy has a copy of Machiavelli's The Prince on his bookshelf because this movie thinks it's so clever.
Yeah, he has a collection of rare satchels, and
it's a big fan of it.
There's only one book called The Prince that you should have on your shelf, and it's the one that I wrote.
That's fucking right, and I do.
So he goes, oh, can I take your coat? Because this is a coats movie. And she goes, sure. Believing this is not to be important later, but it will be.
And he's like, do you have a satchel on you that I could probably take? Satchel's such a bitch name as well. It's just, if I was going to be given a code name, Satchel? Come on. It might also got to be Spyglass. That's sick.
Spyglass is kind of...
Again, I wouldn't want a nickname with spy in it, though. Again, that's sort of a codename The List.
Yeah. Codename Devon.
I mean, really throw them off. Your codename is just The List. You know, they'll be looking for a list instead of Devon.
That's smart. They're not going to be expecting it to be a guy. They're going to be thinking it's a list.
Yeah.
Codename The Watch, because that's where the list is hidden.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So they talk some more. It's fucking boring. I don't write anything down because like this movie has like two brain cells banging off of each other, and they're constantly playing like Spotify Best of the 80s at like a 50% volume under it.
And it thinks it's so clever because he quotes Machiavelli, and she goes, Nicola Machiavelli. And it's like, great, cool.
She's got an interesting pronunciation too. She calls him Machiavelli or Machiavelli, I think. Famously Scottish, whatever. At this point, she ditches him and she goes to the next location.
It's a double pleasure to deceive the deceiver. Nicola Machiavelli.
It's a little bit Kevin Bridges. I've never been doubly deceived.
Quite inconvenient.
In a nest of spies.
This is the thing, right? It tries to do Nest of Spies, many different actors at once, in a way that is worse than a comedy movie about like a French dude from the 60s.
Yeah.
They had a budget
really
of like,
shit.
You know, many millions of dollars for this.
Yeah, no, it's
I think
not.
It was 30, 40 million?
Yeah. So they get
saying to the cast directors, for $30 million, name 4 women.
Yeah,
impossible
name a woman.
challenge.
The casting directors for this were women.
Jesus.
So I don't know what went wrong. Like, anyway.
They were just like, "Ow, no one wants to see that. No one wants to see broads." Yeah. Put some broads in. Anyway.
She goes to a cafe's secondary location.
Yes.
She meets Bremovich, and Bremovich is like, "How's it going? Nice satchel." And they sort of have this conversation.
We have a strong working relationship already.
We have met many times over the years.
There is a really fun bit when we're doing the establishing shot. Like Charlize Theron has to walk into this bar in a beautiful dress, right? So she's not in frame yet. But first we are on two gorgeous women who are enjoying like a drink at the bar together, and we get some great supporting artist acting here, where these two like women are like talking to each other, and then they run out of things to say, and then keep talking. It's really fun to watch. I'm not knocking them at all. It's a lot of fun being a supporting artist. It's hard work, and they do not give you a lot or tell you a lot. But they just have to carry on for like 2 or 3 seconds longer than they thought they would.
Oh, that's brutal.
Nobody knows except me. Don't worry.
Yeah. So
only notice
she has
if you
this kind of like
acted in a movie before.
All the conversation she has with Bremovich, or indeed anyone in this movie, is just like saying things that sound ominous but don't really mean anything to each other. So she's like, "Oh, maybe we should work together for the list," and he's like, "Yeah, maybe we should." And then they get interrupted by the woman we saw on the motorcycle earlier. This is Delphine Lassalle, and she does a 2017 feminism where she's like, "Oh, is this guy bothering you, bestie? You look like you needed rescuing." And she basically like fucks him off. She like removes him from his cafe secondary location and his meeting, which is like really funny to be like, just like busting into the secret spy rendezvous and be like, "Yo, is this guy bothering you? Do you need help right now?"
Do you want to ask for Angela?
Yeah. Yeah, it is such a like, it's like that kind of like feminism. But so
there's something quite funny which I enjoyed when watching this film, which is that this woman Delphine, who we later find out works for French intelligence, looks exactly like my Tinder date from the other night, which is quite fun.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah, like dead ringer. Like I was like, it's you again.
I mean, she's sort of like, interestingly featured, and I say that not in a derisory way at all, in a very complimentary way. She's got a very striking chin. And just like, okay. So she sidles up to her.
I'm pretty sure she must have got that when I had mine cut off. I've seen that chin before.
Who do you think gave you the chin? Thanks to Abby Thorne lying on the fucking table.
No.
Yeah, it's
That's
great.
like my plan to get extra buckle fat put on. There's a lot going spare now.
Oh, the Laura Loomer. Yeah.
Yeah. I want some hamster ass cheeks.
When the trend comes back around, everyone will be wanting you to donate them.
Yeah,
that's right.
For sure.
This buckle fat's going to increase in value.
I'll be the kingmaker.
At this point, she needs to get a new contact in East Berlin. My notes say she's just in her lingerie again, randomly.
Yeah. You got to replace out the microphone and everything.
Yeah. She goes to East Berlin. Bremovich sends some goons to pick her up, and she fights them in a cinema because the film's very pleased with itself, including a very cool looking Mongo with a cool haircut.
There's a fight where it starts off with the two of them silhouetted against the back of the projector screen, and it's compromising the vision. They didn't do the whole fight like that. They keep cutting in. I wish they just stuck with that wide shot. But.
Of course, they end up punching through the cinema screen.
Naturally.
Yeah. There's a couple of things we missed though. She like goes to this watchmaker, Til Schweiger, who is wasted. God. And it's just like, I would like one spy network, please. And he's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, fine. I wrote the John Wickification of cinema here.
It's like Percival has been following her because he had told her earlier when they were flirting that if he was really following her, she wouldn't know. And he also he's recording this conversation. He also sees Bakhtin go into this watchmaker and is like, "Hey, I have a watch full of like the list. I have the watch with the list, and I would like to sell it." Yeah. I would like to codename sell it, please. And this watchmaker is like,
codename sell it for some codename Wonga. How about some?
Yeah. And codename the watchmaker is like, yeah, okay. I'll put the word out. Then she goes to East Berlin. Also, the watch is a Karl F. Bucherer, which is a hysterically drab brand that presumably they paid a lot for, because there's a long close-up of that name on the dial. And man, it's a boring watch. I'm sorry.
Kind of watch for the spy like Gascoigne would wear. You know, he'd be
possibly.
blending in.
Yeah.
None of these spies are interested in fucking blending in. They're all,
she
walking
goes to
around
East
dressed like the main
Berlin.
character.
We gesture at better movies again. She goes to like hide in a cinema that is playing Andrei Tarkovsky's Stalker. At this point, I am exhausted watching this. It's like confusing, but also boring. I understand it to be the kind of like, oh, lots of different people are after the same thing in the Guy Ritchie style, but with like an espionage
why do these
tone
guys
over
try
it.
and beat her up?
That's a great question.
Well, there
and the
needs to
thing
be a
is,
fight scene at this point in the movie, because it's been a little
Bremovich doesn't
while.
say beat her up. Bremovich just says, yeah, go and bring her to me in a way that you're meant to think is threatening. And then these guys go and chase her. She runs. She kicks the shit out of them. And the whole time she's kicking the shit out of them, all of them are like, why? What? Why?
Yeah, all of them are like, what are you
do
doing?
This? This is like sort of workplace violence. Why do we work together? Like,
it's also not clear why she's doing that, because like, for whom? Right? Unless she's aware she's
Percival
being
isn't
bugged
there.
at this point,
Like,
which she isn't.
which
Like,
she is,
there's no
no.
reason she would kick the shit out of these guys, except for that they
She,
wanted
like-
to put that in the movie.
she stabs a guy in the face with some keys. He has like car keys hanging out of his face, and he's presumably like,
What the fuck are you
you know,
doing?
I showed you photos of my kids.
So
like,
we've had a long chat over like drinks.
I'm Mongo in this film. You can't do this
I
to
like
me.
do your coffee order. Like you can't. Why have you done this to me? But it's because the movie cares about plot twists and it doesn't want to be consistent.
It's cool, I think.
She goes and meets her new contact. Is this the Skarsgård twink?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he is sitting on a roof,
Twink
being
Skarsgård.
like, East Germany is about to collapse. And you know, I'm gonna.
This guy's like Lawrence Fishburne in John Wick 2. If instead of hobos,
Not
it was like,
every guy is on a
shut
roof.
Up. He's that guy. If instead of hobos, it was like ravers. He's like the king of the ravers. He's the like king of the youth.
Yeah, he's king of
That's
the
literally
youth.
his thing.
I know Berghain is in John Wick 4, but he's kind of, if you put Berghain in the John Wick thing back one movie,
Berghain
he's
is
the
in John
Berghain
Wick 4,
Hobo King.
but the
he's the
establishing
Berghain
shot is
Hobo
like
King.
of the museum. I don't know.
You
Talk about that
you
when we get
don't
to it.
think that a Raver King protects his Raver crown, John?
Wick.
So this
Mr. Wick.
this is where she goes back to the club and meets Delphine, and this is where we get straight girls kissing.
Straight girls kissing. This is absolutely straight girls kissing because, like, you know that one meme where it's like, straight women and it's women kissing each other with tongues, and it's like gay women who are into each other, and it's like, I don't know, whatever, hitting each other with hammers, working on an engine together. Like the first lesbian thing that she does is pull a gun on this woman.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that got me like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So they
such a-
go
They're
and they're like making out in the toilet,
Pull
and
quote.
she pulls a gun
Yeah.
on Delphine, and Delphine's like, "I know
Yeah,
you're
they're
MI6."
like kissing and kissing and kissing, and I'm like, this does nothing for me. She pulls a gun on her. She's like, I'm like,
It's like, let's go. Okay.
Yeah. And for like half a second, I was just like, "Oh, this seems about to be a lot more interesting, actually." And then I was like, "Oh, wait, no, we're doing spice." Oh, okay.
I wrote down in all caps, it's not exploitation if I think it's hot. But
Yeah.
the thing is, this is a kind of like,
It becomes it
this is a
soon.
lesbian dynamic that, like, it's femme for femme with a clear top bottom dynamic, which means it's very legible and attractive to straight men.
Yes. Yes.
It's like, I'm not saying it's not a thing that, doesn't exist in real life, because it clearly does and it rules, right? But like, it's also something that is frequently presented, as it is here, as a male sexual fantasy, right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, they're fucking making out with each other, dude.
Yeah, so she's French intelligence and she's scared. So I'm on my first mission, and
That's another thing, another interesting dynamic, because she's a baby, which makes Lorraine, in my reckoning, a spy nonce. Because this woman goes
Spont.
like,
think they're just called
I'm like
spies.
kind of in over, like, I'm in over my head. It's my first day. I'm scared. I'm like,
boobs
OSS
are
2
falling
billion. Yeah.
This is me, to be fair, though. It's just like, oh.
Yeah. Like my shoes
crying.
are untied. There's a rock in one of them.
Crying in the club. My shoelaces are loose. I trip over. Everyone's
I've got like pants full of like loose spaghetti and like. Please, my wets.
And like over in front of this, like of the Mongo, he's like got the keys in his fist ready to punch me, and I'm just like openly weeping. It's like, oh.
Yeah, and Charlize Theron is like, "Shh, baby, it's alright. It's okay. Just come back to my hotel room."
Yeah, she's like,
she grooms.
She said
woman.
we should team up because somebody's obviously killing Allied officers because they killed Gascoigne. And Charlize Theron's just like, "No, I work alone. You're in over your head, but I will fuck you." And my notes say, in fairness, this is hot, but it's also very male gaze. And I think you're very right, Alice, that it's very like this clear top and bottom dynamic. It's like there's no question in the mind of the straight cis male viewer who wears the strap here.
No. I mean, Delphine gets shoved against a wall like face first, and I'm like, again, this is also, it's not exploitation if I like it.
I did write average Berlin bedroom just in reference because it's just all bisexual lighting. It's fucking.
They do so much bisexual lighting.
They do so much bisexual lighting. I thought I was watching a video essay.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you are going to have lesbian sex, that you do kind of need that. It's good.
Yeah. So, we Percival like surveils this watchmaker, and so he sees Bakhtin. Bakhtin's like, "Yeah, I have codenamed the Watch List." And then we cut back to the framing device where they're like,
I remember this.
Yeah, you remember Toby Jones from Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy?
I do.
Well, he's in this movie again. And he's like, yeah, so it turns out you've been in Berlin for like a week and all you've accomplished is fucking one French woman.
Which,
You
nice.
do
look.
You do have a job, right? So we're going to give you a kick up the ass to do this. What they do is they send John Goodman, CIA John Goodman, who I should mention, at the start when he's in the briefing room, she like kicks up a fuss about because she's like, I want this to be like MI6 only. This guy's
what the fuck's the CIA doing in here? You know?
Yeah, for sure. And at that point, I said, "Oh, she works for the CIA."
100%. I didn't see this one coming, actually.
No, I did. I genuinely
thing, I didn't see this one.
The last time I was like, I saw this plot twist coming. You were like, you did not see this plot twist coming, but. On God, I saw both the plot twists in Atomic Blonde coming when I saw it in theaters.
Alice watches a fucking movie and then like turns it off 5 minutes in and be like, figured it out.
Yeah, pretty much. Completed
a
it, mate.
sample of your crispened potato snacks? No need. I've already imagined the flavor.
She's just like chat GPT the rest of the dialogue.
Yeah.
Figured it out from first principles.
Because she goes to see John Goodman and her affect towards him is completely different. She calls him sir. He is like quite caring towards her, but he also threatens Delphine. And he's like, yeah, if you gotta like do some work because East Germany is about to become Germany again. And
so you can't just spend all of your time having hot lesbian sex.
I know.
With a series of women. You have to write the next episode of Philosophy Tube at some point.
In many ways, I'm the John Goodman of this podcast. And I'm like, we need to record the episode. You have to stop having hot lesbian sex. We need to work.
James McAvoy kills codename Yuri Bakhtin and takes the codename watch with the codename list.
Yeah, there is one thing I like about this, which is when Yuri is about to kill him, we see that he is deployed. He reuses his lines. He's got like one line, which is you're not as
maybe you're not as good at this spy shit as you think.
And he is about to like deploy that on James McAvoy when he is killed.
Now, here's my
unexpectedly.
Question. Is that a good, cool choice to show that this guy's lame and he reuses his lines?
I think it's good. Mistake? I really like that.
Is that a mistake because the screenwriters
no, that's got to be on purpose, and I really like it. It's like, this guy's
definitely choose to believe it's on purpose, and I like it.
He's reusing bits to guys he's about to kill because who are they going to tell?
I think it's smart.
But he takes
so James
the list.
McAvoy kills him and he goes, Satchel. Yeah.
Reads the list, calls Charlize Theron, who is, of course, putting a microphone in her breasts again.
She'd do anything else. Like,
hey, she's pulling the microphone from her breast and be like, damn, someone's trying to trick me, RN. And James McAvoy calls her and she's like, well, obviously it'll be you then.
Yeah. So they've got to get Eddie Marsden across the border to West Berlin. And so they say,
this guy.
You can marry a GI, but obviously you've got to have sexual reassignment surgery first.
It like cribs bits from Hedwig in ways that are also shit, like genuinely. There's one shot where she's like against like a broken mirror where it's like, double agent, double identity. I'm like, fuck off.
And in the fucking like all shit is happening in this movie, man. So Toby Jones in the briefing is like, James McAvoy called me and said, "You're Satchel, actually." And she's like, "That's because he was Satchel." And I'm like, okay.
But that's
cool.
the best thing. He didn't even say that. He just said, I have information that will lead to the arrest of Satchel. Like, he was sort of knowingly, uselessly mysterious about this enough to sort of like allow for plausible deniability. He just called him and went like, "I am very close to Satchel," without saying.
Yeah.
Which is great.
We also see James McAvoy meeting Bremovich and offering a deal. Great.
In sort of like an out for his... It's photographed by Delphine, because, again, it's like a mess at this point. But he's like out for himself, and he's like, "Yeah, I can sell you some information from the list, which I have." So he is a traitor, but he's not Satchel.
There is something that happens around this point of the film that I do quite like, which is that in the briefing... Lorraine denies having had any feelings for Delphine. She's like, "No, didn't care, just shagged her brother." And we see as they're in bed together that this may not quite be true, and that like there's a risk to Delphine here. She may die, and this may hurt Charlize Theron's feelings. I do like that the film asks us to be emotionally invested in a lesbian relationship to the same extent that we would if this was a straight relationship. It's nice that we go, "Oh no, like what if, the main characters are sad because they lose somebody that they have feelings for, and it's just like incidentally that's gay." I do quite like that. That's nice.
When Delphine dies, I will talk about, because that's not.
She died.
They killed this broad?
When they kill Delphine, I will talk about some of the potential that this has, because that's not long coming. You can like set your watch by it. But so they have to go to
being codenamed Set by that.
Have to go to East Berlin to extract Eddie Marsan, who has a copy of the list in his head. Of course he is. The second Eddie Marsan sees Lorraine, he's like, "Oh shit, that's fucking Satchel. Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me." And she's like, "No, I'm not going to kill you. Don't worry about it." So
I was still operating at this point under the assumption that James McAvoy is Satchel.
Oh, me too.
And I was just like, okay.
Really?
I was. So I was wondering, okay, why doesn't Eddie Marsan just immediately tell her, "Yo, that's James McAvoy. He was in X-Men. He's Satchel." It's in the last
James McAvoy from fucking X-Men.
And I was just asking myself this when James McAvoy brings Eddie Marsan's family in, and I was like, "Oh, that's why he doesn't tell them, because he's got his family."
I'm fully
clever.
crispened potato snacks on this one. I'm like, no, he's looking at her. He's terrified. He's like, fuck, nice Satchel, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna kill you. Fuck off." So. The mission is
I didn't put it together fast enough. I got it pretty swift after this, but
okay. So if she's Satchel, then why does James McAvoy shoot Eddie Marsan in the next scene? I feel like I'm my mum at this point. I'm just been like, hang on a minute. If that's so, why did he kill him? Aren't they with him?
Because he made a deal with Bremovich for like, in return for information from the list, like he would kill Spyglass.
Oh shit!
Because he's a traitor.
I'm watching the show on
doesn't
Dumbo
like
mode.
Traitors.
Yeah, I was standing up and inexplicably closing all the curtains in the house. I must have missed that.
So,
I was talking to my sister
James
in
McAvoy,
Yorkshire. I missed 20 minutes of the film. What's going on?
James McAvoy, like,
I was in the toilet for a very extended period. Didn't pause it.
He sets them up. They try to like kill Eddie Marsan with a sniper, who like wings him, but then Udo Skarsgård saves the day by having all of the like youth who are protesting against the wall, which is about to come down, put up umbrellas to save them.
And then James McAvoy shoots Eddie Marsan.
James McAvoy shoots him.
Why? I don't know.
Then we have a fucking fight scene. Actually, no, I like this. This is the only fight scene where everyone involved is 100% like committed to it. Because every other fight scene, everyone's been like, "Why are you hitting me?" to Charlize Theron.
Yes, yeah.
And it's really good.
They've sold out. Although, why would the KGB knowingly sell out their own double agent Satchel for some information when they could have all of it from her?
Every single character in this movie's motivation is just like, "Damn, it's a nest of spies here in Berlin. Everyone man for themselves." Says a lot about society. And it's like, stop selling me out.
Who's in charge of it? Like, who's got a plan? Like, what?
They're all just vibing. Every one of them is just doing banter.
Mongo's here. You run over.
We get like a long brutal fight scene. Nothing
Mongo.
this movie loves more than someone who is like trying to continue to fight but has been injured so badly they keep getting up and falling back down again.
Yeah,
the fight
I love
choreography
that.
was like assisted by fucking Chumbawamba in this movie.
80s
The number of times this happens.
80s music.
They should have been playing that shit, man.
This is all made to look like one uncut shot. It's not like you can see the joints, but it's technically impressive. Actually,
It's good fight choreography. I like that they get a woman is getting to do the like heavy fight scenes.
That's cool. I do like that too. She does Jason
and like
Bourne
at
shit.
the time when they do it, they're not fetishizing it. They only fetishize it afterwards when she's like injured and they're like, oh, check out Charlize Theron's bruised body, and it's like, oh,
because it's meant to be like, oh, she's vulnerable now, like I could probably beat her actually, and it's like, that's a weird thing to say.
Sure,
it's a movie that is
like,
best watched by watching the fight scenes in isolation on YouTube.
Yeah, this
That's
is like
my
a YouTube
stance on this.
compilation thing.
Yeah.
We also get some more feminism, which is the big guy, the big blonde guy with the car keys. She like she almost kills him. She like later kills him by running him over, but she stabs him. He calls her a suka, right? He calls her a bitch, although that's my understanding more generally coded as male in Russian. Whatever. Anyway, he calls her a bitch. She stabs the shit out of his face and neck with a corkscrew and says, "Am I your bitch now?" It's like, okay. Cool, great. This feels exploitative to me. Like, we sort of like, ladies can do horrifying violence too. Check this shit out. Isn't this progressive? And it's like, yeah, of course, right? Like, we all love ladies doing horrifying violence to us, but like, it's so pleased with itself. It's so like, check this shit out. It's James Bond for girls. It's girl James Bond.
Yeah, this is the thing. Is like, again, not to lay all of this at the foot of the director, but I do wonder what this movie looked like in the parallel universe where it was directed by a woman. And
that's true, but I think a lot of it's the script.
Yes, true.
It's a duff script, in my opinion.
Coming from a graphic novel, I imagine.
I wonder what would have happened if like somebody had said, well, does John Goodman and Toby Jones and C and this Mongo and Brimovich, do they all have to be men? Can we have some women in it? Just being here. Does James McAvoy's character have to be
just like
a man?
Interesting.
It's like half of all people sort of generally are women, I've found.
Yeah.
More than, actually, if you look at all the statistics.
In general.
So
more every day.
Most people are women.
Thanks to this podcast,
That's right.
Yeah.
Listeners, you may know a woman, you may be a woman.
Wow, interesting. I'm hearing this.
It's now for the first time.
Wavering a bit on account of the Volkspolizei greatcoat. But so Eddie Marsan has been like, he's been around in the midst of all of this. And he's like, I still have been shot. He does literally find a health kit, which is funny.
Yeah, that's
like,
very funny.
They steal a car. He finds a little like a first aid kit, and it very much looks like he's just sort of like run over that in a first person shooter.
Yeah, he eats like a chicken bone and regains some health.
Yeah, the Wolfenstein full chicken dinner on the ground.
He laughs and pauses, eats 5 wheels of cheese and some like mammoth steak.
He's like consuming every healing item in his inventory.
You like hear the like Stimpack sound from fucking Fallout.
And all for nothing. All for nothing, because moments later, they get hit by a car and they get knocked into the River Spray. And his leg is trapped, and Eddie Marsan's gonna die. He's gonna die, and we regret this.
I'm emotionally invested in that.
He drowns
I'm like, oh no.
Jason Bourne style.
Yeah, he gets the hot girl Bond death, which is really funny. Like he goes out like Vesper Lind, which is so Charlize Theron like reluctantly surfaces and like swims to shore and is like, I'm gonna name a cocktail after Eddie Marsan. That's gonna taste fucking atrocious.
It's gotta be horrific. Just using a discontinued
Worst
spirit
shit
for
you've
fun.
ever tasted. Yeah, and they really like a fucked up Charlize Theron. She's like bruised and battered and shit like this.
Yeah, more so I feel than a male protagonist in a similar film would be.
Jason Bourne, like sort of his like escape from Moscow is the closest sort of like scene that we've seen like this.
Daniel Craig gets beaten up sometimes. It's never to this extent in Bond.
No. It's yeah. But so she's in trouble because Spyglass's family have escaped. Spyglass is dead. And John Goodman is there, laying it on a little heavily, like mispronouncing her name as Broughton to James McAvoy to try and like throw off suspicion. It's like, oh, you think she's Satchel? And James McAvoy goes, well, women love to be Satchel. Into like a sinister way.
Impossible for me to say at this moment whether or not she's Satchel. Just
yeah.
It would be yeah.
Lorraine realizes that James McAvoy placed a bug in her coat earlier on, right? But
it's a codes movie.
He used a French bug to try and set up Delphine.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm my mum. I was eating a chocolate at this point. Why, if James McAvoy isn't Satchel, why does he try to kill Delphine?
Because she's going to expose his like corrupt dealings with the list, because she does the dumbest spy thing in this movie, which is to call him up on the phone and be like, I have information that will lead to your arrest.
She does do that.
Here's what happens here is oh god, I need to pull up the list of names. Charlize Theron finds the bug, knows that it's French, and says to the other woman that's in it, Delphine. I've seen her here on the IMDb page also, and goes, he's trying to set us both up. Don't do anything stupid. And Delphine goes,
she does something stupid.
Well, I'm afraid it's the start of the third act of the movie, so we need to demonstrate the sort of the danger you're in by having someone die. So it's time for me to email James McAvoy and be like, I am at this location. Please fridge me.
I will be walking around in my underwear with headphones on.
Yes.
In my underwear. I hate it. I actually
not checking any of the
full force.
So, I mean, like again, a better script would have had ways to like make this more interesting. Like you could have had her panic, right? But she doesn't. She fully just like she puts the photos of James McAvoy doing the like double dealing in an envelope that says "After I get killed, open." And then sort of wanders around, like putting her back to sort of like dark corners until James McAvoy jumps out and tries to garrote her, and we get
on a bed,
pretty horrible,
in her underwear,
sadistic, cynical death scene where you can feel the movie justifying itself by being like, oh, she managed to like stab him a bit, so go boss. And it's like, no, this sucks.
Nah, you're fridging this broad just to show that like it's dangerous. Great. Fuck off.
It honestly would have been better if Charlize Theron had just turned up at the flat and found the corpse, and we didn't get the scene of this woman being strangled on a bed in her underwear.
Sure.
With like, she's like bent over the bed and James McAvoy's like behind her.
Like on top of her.
Yeah. It's just
it is grim.
Fuck's sake. 2017.
Write a better script. Write a script of movie next time, cunt.
She sort of gets there right after he escapes and finds Delphine dead, and also finds the like plot envelope. And at this point, I go, there's potential here. There's interesting potential here, right? Like if you want to sell me on like, what if the James Bond thing of like, well, James, it seems you've gotten yet another woman killed in your pursuit of the mission because you regard these women as disposable, but they're both women. That's interesting. I would be interested to know about the sort of like interior repercussions of that. I would be interested to know. And you know what? There's this thing in script writing where you can kind of like convey what a character might be feeling or thinking by way of their actions, right?
I see.
It happens through this process called acting.
It's very much the opposite of the Van Helsing school of screenwriting, where the characters just announce their super objectives.
Yeah, but apparently we decided just not to do any of that, because what we did was we treated this, and I think this is interesting in its own way. We treated this the way a Connery movie treated. It seems I fucked up and killed another woman, which is I leave. I go to the next location. I look a bit sad from it. And I'm like,
damn, that's crazy. Anyway,
easy come, easy go.
Just dips.
Where is James McAvoy? Yeah, and it's like she's a bit sad, and that's it. And it's like.
My note here says, spies are always setting up photographic darkrooms. It's not that easy.
No.
It's actually hard to set up
ventilation in there.
It's actually costing me a lot of money to set up a photographic darkroom.
It's not even dark.
She's got a fucking enlarger. She's got a 35mm enlarger. What are you carting that around with you?
But so, the wall
Film's
is coming
micro
down.
for a reason. You're not. It's hard to. Anyway.
The wall is coming down. It's like it's on the TV as well. It's cribbing again from Hedwig. You know, the Germans are a patient people.
Good things come to those who wait.
Yeah, if you put like news, like it sort of like important news coverage voice over music, that makes it cool and it tells you that
we
things
hadn't
are
mentioned it,
happening,
but
like,
every
in
like
history.
10 minutes in this film, we get something from the Exposition News Network. Which is just like, ENN, the Berlin Wall's coming down. The ticking clock of this movie is the Berlin Wall will be coming down in the next 3 scenes. Yeah. It's like, right, okay.
So
Percival,
Percival is like
2 scenes away from coming down, folks.
Yeah, and Percival gets to like look down the camera and be like, "Do you know what a Ronin is? Have you seen the movie Ronin?"
Yeah.
It's a stylistic choice, obviously, to have him break the fourth wall in such a manner. And allow me to say, I think it doesn't work and is shit. I think it's fucked.
And we're sort of like revealed that he is talking to Lorraine, who is holding him at gunpoint. But
is the movie trying to say something about like the nature of spying and espionage? Which I think that was kind of implied by the rest of the film. You didn't need to have James McAvoy stop and look at the audience.
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I the thing is,
well, what it's trying to say is, damn, that's crazy. And it's like, no, you made all of these guys be crazy. Yeah, you wrote the script.
That's not really a theme in the pitch dock themes. Damn, that's crazy.
No.
Yo,
the themes.text are
Who won? What was the fucking game anyway?
And the thing is, right, in the big potential column, I'm writing down, I like Percival as a character. I think he has sort of layers. I like that he is just, he goes out, he is of course shot by Lorraine, with the sort of thing of like, yeah, all of this was crazy. I fucking loved it though, you know, and that's the thing that like, I have a weakness for when characters have self-knowledge like that. I enjoyed it in a sort of like a darker way in the end of The Lives of Others, where he's like, it's for me. I enjoyed it in the end of fucking Breaking Bad. I like it when characters are just like, no, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed being this, and I you know, it was good.
She steps on
like
his wound
sort of like
to make him more.
She like field expedient torture. She gets the watch off of him, and he's killed. And, well, before he's killed, she like, explains her plan to him, which is like, yeah, I'm going to fit you up as Satchel. He's like, cool, okay. You got my ass with the Machiavelli, you know?
Damn.
I thought I was the Machiavelli, but it turns out it's actually you the whole time. All along, you were the Niccolo Machiavelli of this movie.
Yeah, you were the Nicholas Machiavelli.
Yeah, you were the Nicholas Maklovich you were the Macklemore of this movie.
She looks in the camera, she goes, "I'm Atomic Blonde," and everyone's like, "Whoa,
yeah, damn, I'm Macklemore."
At this point, the film is like trying to like several plot twists collide with each other as they're like trying to get through the door of the movie. So we've now finished the kind of briefing and we're into sort of present day. Time has caught up with itself. She's like, Toby Young, you were really great in Captain America, but I don't feel bad about killing James McAvoy, who was in Last King of Scotland.
I really love when you do that.
Here's some photos
bit.
and a recording of James McAvoy appearing to look like Satchel. And
yeah, it was recorded through my tits, and then I edited it to make him sound guilty, which was very easy.
Here's a fucking problem, right? At this point, what the film should do is like she's edited this to make him look guilty, right? So what it should do is it should show us some dialogue from James McAvoy that we've seen, and then show us it as she's edited it, so we know it's out of context.
Yeah,
what has happened here is that there is clearly a scene that has taken place between Charlize Theron and James McAvoy, which has been cut. So the dialogue that we hear from James McAvoy is dialogue that we have never heard before, including him like slagging off C, his boss, and we're like, would have been really good if we'd heard that.
I know what C stands for.
It would have been really good if we had heard that previously, but you fucking
Damn, that would have been
cut
sick, wouldn't it? That would be cool
and
as
so
all
instead
hell.
it's just like, oh, she's done a thing that we haven't seen before. She just did it off screen. And it's like, okay.
My favorite script writing tool. I fixed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
it's good.
So
it's cool.
Toby Jones,
it was actually easy.
Toby Jones is like, I can't make sense of this film. Fuck it, we're
I'm
done.
bored now.
It was
Fuck
actually
off.
really
I'm
easy
leaving the film now.
for me to fucking like make it look like James McAvoy was evil, because he has not at any point said anything concrete. It's just wishy-washy shit from the fucking get-go. Very easy to edit.
Because all of the dialogue in this movie is just like it's like importunous, as if that's a word.
Because he knows he's talking to Satchel, and he keeps just being like, "Oh, I know who Satchel is. He's someone very close to me." That kind of shit. And it's like, it's just you and Satchel in the room. You can drop the pretense here.
No.
Kill her!
Everyone's fucking-
No, man.
Shoot him with a gun!
and
remember
like,
that from
here's the
season one?
thing.
Just shoot him with a gun.
In the potential column, right, is the wall has come down, and James McAvoy, when he dies, is like, all of this has been futile anyway. I had no idea which side I was on for most of it, and it was all meaningless. Which is an interesting note to end a spy movie on. Unfortunately, much like Ronin, and much like one of my criticisms of Ronin, we can't let that lie, right? We have to go, actually, all along, it's spying still important, it's still justified, we still need to do it, because
we need Atomic Blonde to Atomic Boogaloo.
Yes.
Also, we get London Calling by The Clash, because of course we do.
London. Yeah, 3 days later in Paris, Lorraine has like put on a brown wig. She goes to meet Bremovich, and she's like, "I'm fucking Satchel."
And Bremovich is like, "What the fuck was all of that? What was that about? You cunt."
Yeah, why did you stab my boy with some keys?
Why did you
I love Bremovich in this scene because he's meeting Charlize Theron in this like hotel room and like, we're the villains, we've won. Bremovich has the most "I'm about to get my dick sucked by Charlize Theron" expression on his face that it is possible for a man to have. And I'm like, damn, this is a man whose like forehead uncle percentage is at 10,000%.
Yeah, approaching the density of a neutron star in the hardness of this man's penis. And she goes, I thought you were going to have me killed. And again, in what would have been an interesting ending, he's like, "Oh yeah, about that. I have 4 guys waiting outside in like rubber gloves with a tarp, which they're going to spread out on the floor." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. This is an interesting date. Been there.
Been there, done that."
Yeah, one of them's like, yeah, you know, like be professional, go stand on the plastic.
I think that's really good.
Like blood everywhere. Oh, it's really good, and like again, been there.
Nice line. Nice little line.
Yeah, really good.
It's fun, you know. But of course she kills them. She
all
doesn't get like an
motion.
interesting long Good Friday ending where it's like, yeah, all of this was for nothing, and also you have now been killed, like you kept saying you were going to be.
You want to know how I would fucking change this movie? Absolutely nothing but cut when that guy goes, "Be a good girl and get on the top." Just cut there.
Yeah.
Done. Movie's over.
And then you can do Atomic Blonde 2 if you want. You can come back and have the fight scene. You can, you know, just like cut, like, you know, we begin the next film as soon as the old one
begin
ended.
it in media res.
Fine.
It would be good. It would be fine. But instead, it's just like, it just feels unnecessary. It feels shit. It feels shit, basically.
The end of The Long Good Friday, a better movie is what I'm thinking about this whole time. But no, she kills all these guys. She kills Bremovich, and Bremovich is doing the thing where he's like trying to get up, and like he's too injured, and he keeps falling down again. He's like bleeding out of his neck, and she's like, "I'm going to explain the plot of the movie to you. You think
this shit pissed me off."
You think I'm Satchel? I was actually like reverse double ultra Satchel because I was feeding you false information, which led to the fall of the Berlin Wall. I was winning the Cold War because all of this was like useful after all.
Oh, is that what
and
she
it's
was
all
saying?
been
I didn't
me.
understand a fucking word she said.
Yeah.
It's
She was like feeding them false information, getting information in return, and as a result, the Soviet Union has collapsed, or East Germany has collapsed, and the Soviet Union's about to follow, heavily implied because of her.
I mean, at this point, she has taken the brown wig off and is speaking with an American accent. So I'm just like, I think I have COVID.
Yeah, and so she like goes, takes off the wig. Merkel is there to go clean up after her, and we see that like. Because, and this is a thing that I like, this is in the big potential column, he's CIA. The watchmaker guy, CIA. John Goodman is there to pick her up because she's been working for the CIA the whole time. And I like that geopolitically, Britain is a joke in this and like a sort of an opportunity to exploit because like there's real countries working. There's America, which has like everything like set up around this, and the Soviet Union, and then Britain's this like shit country for pricks that is their sort of like way in.
Yeah, I like keep asking her about her genitals all the time.
Having now just had the movie explained to me in real time, I now like this. I think it's a good idea. I wish it had been done better.
It's a bit like the thing in Breach where you see that the FBI were constructing Robert Hansen's office around them. I like that sort of like exercise of secret power of being like, yeah, the whole thing's been us the whole time. I like that. It is American self-mythology. And the self-mythology of this is like, it's very funny to go, Britain, dead empire, shit country for pricks, nothing works, and now all of its servants are sort of like out for themselves because there's no like cohering anything there. This will never happen to us, the United States of America.
We're going to be a real country forever. Looks at watch. Oh no. Uh-oh.
Yeah, absolutely. It's sort of like it's time to take this
Doing
list
the Abe
with
Simpson
which
thing and it'll happen to you.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like he sort of like takes the watch with the list and it's like, this is going to win the Cold War. We're going to fly back to Langley. Why did you call me a cocksucker? And I got a very clean drop of John Goodman saying
Cocksucker?
And she says, I'm glad it was convincing. Cut to black, and I hear the 9/11 sound effect that ends the movie Charlie Wilson's War.
It's just so good, man.
Atomic Blonde.
A movie.
It had potential.
It had
A movie
potential.
that a lot of people worked very hard on. Bits that are good. A film that is less than the sum of its parts.
A curate's egg.
I love it when a movie ends by going, none of that mattered, and I go, well, it was an hour and a half of my life.
I paid for
and a year of yours. Like, what do you?
More.
Well, it wasn't even none of it even mattered because they don't have the courage to commit to nothing.
No,
even
they don't. But like, actually,
you know,
it did matter. It brought down the Soviet Union. And it's like,
at the end of it, it was like
would have been
America.
If it did,
this is how we won the Cold War. This is what it is, and it's like, okay, why?
This is why the fucking US Army
like,
stood up at Tempelhof.
Yeah, this is why, like, same way that Ronan bottles it at the end by being like, he's actually still working for the CIA, is because the idea of like, oh, none of this mattered and we just did all of this shit for no reason is true. And the fact that there continued to be new things, the fact that, some of the things that we did in furtherance of the Cold War caused those things, that's too hard. We can't do that one. So instead we have to be like, no, it is one unbroken line from Cold War to next thing, and the spying has always been justified. It's a fine piece of intelligence services mythologizing. The Bond movies do it too. Pretty much every spy movie does it, unless you're looking at like really really depressing ones. And it's just, I don't know. It's infuriating because it's ahistorical, and it's like a way to retroactively whitewash and justify all of the shit we did in the Cold War. To be like, oh, that was fun. Now it's over. It had no impact on anything that was going to happen. Anti-Soviet warrior puts his army on the road to peace.
Yeah, and then history ended. So good news, everyone.
Yes,
that was nice.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a sort of central like myth of society, isn't it? Which is that law enforcement and intelligence services act for a reason, like even if that reason is obscured or behind like multiple layers of shit, but there's always like, some kind of justifying plan. It's never just people just doing that violence fucking randomly. And it's like, I don't know, how many times do we have to keep telling ourselves that myth? How many times do we have to, see police engaging in some like random act of fucking violence against somebody who was walking home before we just go, you know what, maybe that's not true.
Maybe we should abolish them, Matt. Maybe we should abolish fucking making shit movies. Maybe we should fucking do that. Maybe we should make it so that you have to run the movie by us before you can release it.
I think this is the first time that I've liked a movie less after we've spoken about it. Because watching it, I was just like, oh, okay, it's kind of all right. Okay, it's all right. Some places disappointing in others, and now I'm just like, I'm offended by this.
I mean, it's
Made
not
myself
even that it's
upset
bad.
for this
Like,
podcast.
the thing is that you have bad movies that are like fine to watch. You can watch a bad movie, but the real sad thing is watching a movie that could have been good and only highlights how bad it's become by like the potential that it had. Yeah, and sadly, that is Atomic fucking Blonde.
There's a certain,
we did it.
TV show which
Atomic
also
Blonde
fits into that niche that I can't mention because.
This is why I like a spy movie that like really will embrace either nihilism or surrealism. I want to watch A Most Wanted Man at some point. I want to watch Burn After Reading at some point. There are a few things like this that are worth talking about, but this is in the sort of like the broader canon of spy movies where we're like, no, it made sense. It made sense. We made it make sense for you. Please continue to like us and think we're cool. We've got 80s Spotify music, and we're working on a sequel. So,
yeah, I mean, I do think one thing I will say is like for great performance from Charlize Theron. Like, I don't think
did great,
I don't think any of the acting in this is. I don't think the fault lies with any of the actors particularly.
No,
great. Everyone
casting
put in,
maybe.
Yeah. Everybody put in good solid work, and it's sadly less than the sum of its parts. But we have a science-based system.
Weak script. Mm-hmm. A science-based system called the SCUM system. I would like to.
Yeah, well then we can absolutely choose to.
We should. This is a mainline episode. We should scum it.
the SCUM system for SMARM, cultural insensitivity, unprovoked violence, and misogyny. How smarmy is this movie, and why is the answer very?
It's so fucking pleased with itself. I decided this shit was going to get a 10 on SMARM when they were doing the fucking like car chase, and the song is just like, you've got to run away, or some shit like this. And I'm like,
it's Iran.
It's Iran. It's like, fuck off. All right.
Is this the smarmiest movie we've ever seen?
It's definitely the most pleased with itself.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I could give it a 10.
It might be
10 out of 7.
Yeah. It's sort of like it's in the ways that a Guy Ritchie movie is smarmy and pleased with itself. It's those, but without sort of like earning it even a fraction as much. Because like I get sick of that shit when Guy Ritchie does it. When someone imitating Guy Ritchie does it, it's just like it's all style, no substance, and so fucking smug about it. 10 out of 7.
Cultural insensitivity.
I mean,
the Germans are culture.
Yeah, German culture.
Really.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Wow. German culture, sure.
Yeah, perversion.
Germans are sort of
German
nerds.
Civilization.
The French are sexy. Britain is correctly identified as a shit country for pricks and a joke, which I do appreciate. Good. It gets a point off for that for me.
Yeah, it's quite fun that every nation in this is like has its stereotypes that they keep mentioning the Queen and stuff, but American neutral, normal, everyone else weird. Totally
normal. Yes. Yeah. Oh my god, it really is just Ronin for girls, like a CIA agent undercover, like making besties with a French spy. It's like, okay,
it's pretty white.
It's completely white. Very white. I would go like I don't know,
3,
4. Yeah.
Okay.
4. Middle of the road.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Disappointing, but like whatever.
Yeah.
Unprovoked violence. 9, 10.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, we're constantly being asked.
It's unprovoked. Most of the violence is against people who are like, why are you fighting me, dude?
Yeah, that's the plot of the film. Actually,
we work together.
Yeah, and we are supposed to enjoy it too. So that's it's got to be like 7 out of 7. Like,
yeah, okay, yeah.
It's the most like unprovokedest violence film we've ever seen. Misogyny.
Ooh, high, very high,
very high.
I would say it's nakedly exploitative. And exploitative in a way that is like so pleased with itself. You can tell the bits that it does to like sort of fend off, to try and beat the allegations, right? Like to do the scene of like Delphine getting murdered, but to have her like fight back a bit enough to like injure James McAvoy, right? Is like that's such a we didn't make her helpless, so you're not allowed to get mad at us. I'm not touching you. I hate it. I really don't like it. 2017 as well. Like, we should have a higher bar.
Should have known better. Like, and little things like the fact that like you've got 3 women in the film, 2 of whom are named and have arcs, which is better than some films we've seen. But like, we're always seeing them in their underwear, and we're always introduced to them with these like very objectifying shots. And even the pathologist is fucking like 10 out of 10, despite being like an extra. Like, I keep returning to this idea that you're only allowed to be in movies as a woman if you're a certain kind of very sexy. Whereas look at the body shape diversity on show in the male cast. You've got guys who are old, you've got guys who are bald, you've got guys who are big, guys who are little. You've got like twinks.
If they had made the KGB, the big KGB guy who kills you and reuses his shitty lines, a woman, I would have come in my fucking pants. I swear to God, but they didn't. And that's their loss.
Like the 2 named female characters with arcs are both like your 10 out of 10 smoke shows. It's like okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're giving a huge, sort of like heavy set, not even like pretty or like handsome or whatever Russian woman who would kill me. That's pretty good.
Just want an absolute like bricked up KGB agent.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what? It would have been better.
It would have been better.
It would have been so much better. I mean, it would have been also a bit homophobic, but like still.
Yeah, we would complain about that when it comes up, but I think it would be.
Yeah, you can't win with us, and nor should you, because this is an anti-movie podcast.
I think that's why you have to run every movie past us before you release it.
The one thing I can say in this film's defense is that it does not show a corrective rape that is shown to work on screen, which is the worst thing I think we've ever seen.
The faintest praise is that like there's no rape in it.
I think we gave Goldfinger a 9 for misogyny.
I would comfortably give this like a 6, right? I think I would like knock off a point for like earnestly trying to do what if James Bond, noted sociopath piece of shit, was a woman, is an interesting thing to explore, and they did make an attempt.
Yes. Okay, that's a fair point. I still want to give it like a 7.
That's fine.
Yeah,
all right, fine.
Yeah, because yes, that is an interesting point, but I think it is outweighed by that's a point that we consider like in the realm of forms, whereas like I'm considering what is shown on screen, which is
sure.
Do women
and of course naturally the Kronstein goes to Charlize Theron.
Yes,
trying to kill the driver of a vehicle she was in.
Trying to kill Satchel.
Always so good.
No good night because we can't tell who the fuck's anyone's side is on.
No. This was a boring, confusing, irritating movie to rewatch.
And it gives us a total score of...
This is going to be high as fuck.
It's going to be high as fuck. Gives us a total score of 28, which means it is tied with Live and Let Die for the worst film we have ever seen on the podcast.
My God, and I remember this fondly.
As Live and Let Die.
Do you know how many people have been like, "Oh, guys, you should watch Atomic Blonde. It's so good," and we're just here like, "This is the worst movie we've ever seen."
Alice, you saved it by suggesting 6 for misogyny. I was ready to give it a 9, and that would have made it a 30. But no, it is 28. It is tied. With a film that was made in like fucking 1805 or whenever the fuck Live and Let Die was made.
Napoleon is master of Europe. Oceans are now battlefields. Only one man stands before him, James Bond. This was dismal to rewatch.
It made me sad.
But I mean,
looking forward to auditioning for the sequel, though.
Yeah, very much.
Maybe the sequel will be better. Let a woman direct it.
It will be.
Let a woman be in it.
Yeah. Right now, they are googling Spotify 90s playlist, and once they have enough bangers, there's going to be a movie. But in the meantime, thank you for listening. We will return with the recordings of the Austin Powers live shows.
That's fucking right.
In the meantime, we have a Patreon. It's $5 a month. For which, maybe £5 a month, I can never remember.
It's £5. Yeah, we did it in pounds.
£5 a month. We have a Patreon. It's £5 a month.
Codename Patreon.
For which, codename Patreon, for which you can receive codename bonus episode.
Which this is.
The next one is going to be From Russia with Love with no notes.
Thank you for listening to yet another episode of Kill James Bond. We are banking these episodes before we go to London to record the Austin Powers live shows, which means this jazz outro will be on both the Atomic Blonde episode and next week's bonus, which is the From Russia with Love with no notes. Or if you're listening to that episode, on last week's episode, Atomic Blonde, and this week's bonus, which is For Russia with Love with no notes. So in order to keep that from being annoying to hear twice, I'm going to just crack straight on into it. Thank you for being a patron, or if you aren't, consider being a patron. And special thanks, of course, to our £15 and above patrons, and those are Candy Fox, Freya Aloysius, Gustavo Lira, Jack Holmes, Mike Berg, Hannah Oberhart, Nick Boris, Johnny Del Camino, George Rohack, Kentucky Fried Commie, Devon's Secret Nemesis, Yarrick, Drone Lover, Nata Mori, Cohen Enright, Labour Delenda Est, Peter McDonald, Commissar Ozymandias, Beef Crime, Library Hitman, Callan Burney, Jack Drummond, Jonathan Gerdes, Max Gamenhart, Hell, J. Martindale, Lysamesh, Kit Devine, Big Titty Goth Girl, Tarp O, Harrison Fuller, Mothman, Trip, Isopod Gal, Oh No It's Andrew, Clara Roasting Marshmallows, Alex, Katie Probst, Violet Cybra, Liz and Ash in Florida, A Trans Robot, Corvid Cultist, Annie Ruby, Walscott, Ronan, Connor's Cool Big Sister, Safira Lucifera, Sengshen, Carbon Silverpaw, John 2089, Elizabeth Cox, Zoe Shepherd, Cumi in the A. You're gonna have to deal with that being in 3 outros. Quinn Valeri, Loz Pycock, Josie, Roll History Pod, Alfredo, Turfs Eat Shit and Die Alone, Al Irving, Artemis Potter and Elizabeth Ball, Wolfie, Millie, Josh Simmons, Robert Greensmith, and Lauren Baston. Thank you for supporting us. In general, you make it possible for us to do things, and you make it possible to take big swings on things like booking 3 nights of a live show, which, if you're listening to this as an episode, will have already happened or might be just about to have happened. This time shit weird to me. Kill James Bond is Alice, Abigail, and Devon. Our producer is Nate Bethay. Our podcast art is by Matty Lubchansky. Our website is by Tom Allen. See ya. Mwah.